Tooheys Old is one of the most prolific and widely available dark ales in all of Australia. And to be honest, is one of the actual few commercial beers that I look forward to seeing and tasting on tap. So today we're going to clone it. Today it is an Australian dark ale brew day. Let's get started. Kicking off our brew day, we are going to talk grain bill very briefly, because this is really where cloning commercial beers, it's all about less is more, simple is best. For a full explainer on what I mean by this and a bunch of other tips to clone your favorite commercial beer, there's a link to this video up here where we basically tell you how we think about doing this and what we think the right approach is to get as close to the mark as possible. But for today's purposes, it means we're running with 3 grains. The first is going to be just regular pale ale malt. In this case, I'm using Golden Promise, which is a UK maltster. I would probably recommend, because it's Australian beer, use an Australian malt, but I planned badly on this one and I just ran out of the Barrett Burston, which is the normal Australian malt that I typically use and what a lot of our commercial breweries in Australia use. So that's what my recommendation would be. Besides that though, it's going to be 86.2% of pale ale malt, then 6.9% each of dark chocolate malt and medium crystal malt. Very likely that Tooheys frankly is not using any crystal in there in order to cut costs, and they might just be adding some kind of other sweetener to get that caramel effect, like just a syrup to be honest, or a flavor enhancer. But we're doing this one properly, so that's going to be the breakdown for my grain bill to keep things simple but flavorsome. Let's crush this and then we talk water profile. Is it crushing? Is it crushing? I don't think it's crushing, guys. I think we need a new grain mill. There we go. Almost. Kegland, send grain mills. There we go. You gotta know how to talk to the mill, that's all it is. Something that is often overlooked is the water chemistry with beers, but we are not going to do that today. So, if you are new to this whole world of water chemistry and how to use brewing salts and how to do these calculations, I promise it's way, way easier than you think. There's a video right up here that explains everything about water chemistry 101 and exactly how to calculate your salts and what salts to use when. But today we are going to be running with 51 parts per million of calcium, 9 of magnesium, 15 sodium, 57 chloride, 46 sulfate, and 101 of bicarbonate. Now the core baseline here is that we are using Sydney tap water because Tooheys is a brewery in Sydney. So it's logical to assume that the vast majority of their water profile is going to be based off Sydney tap water, particularly with this being a large macro commercial brewery. Yes, they could be doing RO, but honestly, I reckon they might just be running with Sydney's tap water. I could be proven wrong here. If I am wrong, please comment down below. But based off that, this also being a dark ale, they're probably making some small adjustments, bumping up the bicarbonate levels and the calcium levels to make sure that the pH is actually balanced, and we're ending up with a final product that's not too weak, thin, and kind of acidic. So those little touch-ups there are what I believe is going to give us a fairly rounded approximation of a Tooheys Old. Now we can mash in. We've got a new friend. This thing right here is the Gen 4 Brewzilla 65 litre. I am very, very excited to play with this today. It is its maiden voyage. We're going to be doing a full review on this bad boy after I've had a chance to break it in and figure out all the kinks. When it does get made available, I'm going to link it up there, but that might be coming out next week, so be patient with us. But there's a lot of really cool little gadgets with this thing and a lot of really cool features that I'm very keen to show off for you guys. But for right now, we've got to mash in some grain because we're getting our dark ale on. So let's go ahead and mash in, shall we? Now, the really awesome part about this, and again, more feature talks to come when we do the actual review, but we are only doing a 1 keg batch right now. However, the profile of the grain basket of the Brewzilla sits so low, you can literally do really, really small batches. Like you could probably do like a 6 liter batch with this thing even in the 65-litre version, which is absolutely wild. But I'll talk about that more next week. Let's mash in. That is mash in done. I don't believe it would actually be strictly necessary to use the top filter today, considering how efficient this machine actually is. But for the sake of not getting a whole bunch of grain trapped in our beer, let's go ahead and drop it on anyway. And the whole purpose behind this, if you haven't used one of these machines before, is just that as this pump is recirculating, we're gonna not disturb the grain bed too much, so we can just help it get us a bit more efficiency and act like a natural filter so that the end wort is a little more clear than it would be if we kept mixing this thing around. Now, I can go ahead and start recirculating this. Time to talk about our step mash. Not our step mash, our mashing steps. Today, we are gonna be mashing with a 65°C single step mash, which is on the lower side for a dark ale. But here's the thing about Australian dark ales. They're not that thick, they're not that heavy. Don't know if you've noticed, but this is a hot country. So we do make a dark ale, but we make it light, drinkable, and generally just with a more sessionable body rather than the thick stuff that you might experience in colder countries like the UK. So 1 hour at 65 degrees, mash out at 77 degrees, and then we can start boiling. See you then. Mash is done, mash out is complete, and it is time for us to lift our grain bed. Oh, that is so, whoops. Okay, hang on. Hang on. Don't do that.
Too low. Too high.
Whoops.
Too high.
Okay, totally forgot that the Sparging has been redesigned for the Brewzilla 4-point generation. So there's a whole bunch of perforated holes around the bottom, which help with the drainage. And you shouldn't lift it all the way out, you should go part way first. Good lesson learnt. Wish I had paid attention to that when I was looking at the model, but hey, that's I've gotten myself wet so that you guys don't have to. Anyway, we're gonna let this drain out and start sparging, of which we have 15 litres of sparge water. I've already added my phosphoric acid as well as my brewing salts to make this the same water chemistry as what we used in the main mash. So I'm gonna gently pour on top. Actually, let's do the lid method. I'm gonna gently pour this one on top. Once all the 15 litres have gone through and all the wort has drained out, then we can move on to boiling. I wonder how much sugar I lost just then.
I feel it. That hit me as well.
I reckon that was a litre.
Lucky.
I reckon it was half a litre maybe. Don't know. Gonna get the hose.
200 litres.
Hops time. Because this is an Australian dark ale, well more specifically we're trying to clone the Australian dark ale, there's only one real option to use. That's gonna be Pride of Ringwood. So we are running with 6 grams, which is a pittance 0.2 ounces. That's gonna give us 7.1 IBUs. And all this is doing right now is giving us our bitterness to keep the beer in check. I'll talk more about flavor profiles when we add our second and final round of hops with 5 minutes left in the boil. So start your clocks, we'll come back in 55 minutes. I'm not a pirate, I'm checking gravity. The gravity rating for our dark ale is sitting at 1.032. I don't know if that's on target, it sounds about right. I think I was going for 1.041 for final gravity. So I think we're kind of in the ballpark here. Might have slightly undershot. I'm gonna check my notes. If I have undershot, I'm gonna ramp up that boil power and just evaporate a little bit harder to make sure that we actually hit what we want. But yeah, very interesting. By the way, if you guys want to get one of these things, you can also get this on Kegland, as well as the new Brewzilla. And if you do so, I know I mentioned it before, but I'm gonna be a little money grub. Use our affiliate link because all the monies that we make on Wombat YouTube go straight back into Wombat YouTube so we can keep doing Wombat YouTube. Now, we'll see you at the end of the boil. We are now adding 1 ounce / 28 grams of Pride of Ringwood hops into the boil. They go. That's going to give us another 6.3 IBUs, totaling us somewhere around 13 to 14 IBUs. Hopefully, as long as we hit our targets, because a Tooheys Old is 13 IBUs when it's commercially made. Now, These hops, there's a reason we have to use them. It's because every large macro commercial brewery in Australia since the dawn of time has used Pride of Ringwood hops. It is the oldest and most commonly used hop in Australia. What it imparts is herbal qualities, spicy qualities, and a touch of kind of a fruity, citrusy character. And it's just like kind of the bedrock of Australian beers. So that going into this one should get us pretty close to the mark because we know that this is the hop they use. And the interesting thing about the Australian dark ale, this one in particular, is that it is actually quite fruity on the finish. So we want to lean into those esters a little bit with the yeast, but also some fruitier profiles with the hops. Now, 5 more minutes of boiling, then we're going to knock this down to yeast pitching temp. Hello, we are measuring our gravity and transferring. The target is a 1.04 gravity. We've got 25 liters of wort here, and we are at 1.041. We are 1 point over target, which means nothing really, it's 1 point. It might be marginally higher than what we're aiming for. And I believe we're aiming, I don't have my phone on me, I think we're aiming for 4.3% ABV. This is going to be the correct answer if I'm wrong, but we are very, very close to our target. So we should hit our IBU target. We basically hit our ABV target. Now we've got all of that wort going into the tank, and that means it's time for us to eat a pill. No ordinary pill, this is a wrapped pill. I've mentioned it in a lot of my videos, but that's because it's really, really cool tech. This is basically a digital hydrometer. So that's gonna give me real-time readings of the gravity of the beer directly to my phone, so I've got a gauge of when fermentation is actually finished. If you wanna see a full video reviewing that, there's a link to that video right up there. And of course, this is another Kegland product. Link down below if you wanna grab one. Once this is finished transferring, we'll talk yeast. Yeast. It's a bit of a workhorse, but there's a reason for it. We're going to be using US 05 because this is a dark ale. There's other yeast strains you could use. You use nice English strains and what have you, but the Australian dark ale, in particular the Tooheys, is very likely using a very staple kind of ale yeast that produces a little bit of ester, but it's mostly a clean profile. And that's exactly what US 05 does. So I don't know, maybe you want to cultivate some yeast out of a Cooper's tin and use that. It's probably a little bit more Australian, but this is going to do the job just as well. In that goes. And what it does give us is a lot of flexibility with temperature, and it is really hot here at the moment, so that is kind of a must-have. We're going to close this bad boy up. I guesstimate that it will take about a week for primary to finish, maximum 2 weeks for full fermentation to be done. And then when I come back to you, I'm gonna have a fresh pint of the stuff. But now, at the end of the brew day, it's very important to treat yourself. So, I've got the American Pale Ale here, the original craft beer, a Sierra Nevada Pale Ale clone. If you wanna see how I made this, there's a link right up there. This is a cracker beer. So, pour one out for yourselves, kick back, and join us in 2 weeks when we've got an Australian dark ale. And here are the final results. Before I tell you which is which, comment down below which one you think is mine and which one you think is the commercial Tooheys. I'd be very curious to see who gets this one correct. You've had your chance. The answer is, this one's mine, this one's Tooheys, and to be honest, the giveaway is the clarity. This is fresh on keg, fresh on tap after about 1 day. It hasn't really had the chance to clear out properly yet, which it does need, because something that's so nice about the original Tooheys is it is crystal clear. It's dark, yes, it's a dark brown/tan, but it is clear, and that really does help with the visual appeal on a beer like this. The other thing that I find quite interesting is that the Tooheys pours a more rocky head, whereas mine is pouring a much more velvety, smooth head, but the actual color of the head I think is slightly darker on the original Tooheys, which I find quite interesting. Because I would have thought with a commercial beer, you're using a lot more additives and it would have taken away from that color. So yeah, food for thought. But we'll start with the original, then we'll jump back to mine. I mean, I don't care if I cop hate for this. I actually really do like a Tooheys Old. I know that it's commercial swill, but the Tooheys Old actually has a depth of character and flavor that I've always found so incredibly appealing. And as a little side note, this was my entry into the world of better beer. Not craft beer, obviously, but better beer. Before this, it was just, you know, crap commercial lager. This was the first dark beer I ever had. And I was like, wow, beer can have flavor. This is crazy. And so maybe it's a sense of nostalgia that stuck with me. But there is a fruity character to it, which is kind of unusual for dark ales. It's not overly roasted. It's not overly coffee-like. The bitterness is subdued and it's got a level of toastiness that's quite tame. And then there is a sense of biscuitiness that comes in after that initial roasted coffee flavor. But it's all very, very much in check. All of these flavors are very, they're just tame. They're withdrawn, but not non-existent. They're just subtle. They're all subtle flavors. And that's what makes this such an incredibly smashable dark ale. Because unlike your more English styles, your Irish styles that can be very in your face, very intense, very thick, the Australian dark ale is extremely light on the body. It's super sessionable despite the fact that it is dark. It goes down really easy. The final gravity is relatively low and it's not filled with a whole bunch of adjuncts that keep that high, mouthfeel and that viscous quality to it. Now, over to my one. Mine does have more body, slightly. It is less roasted. Is it really less roasted? It is less roasted. How interesting. I need to up the roast a little bit more. I noticed more coffee on this one than I do on my one, and I was trying to be quite careful of that because I didn't want it to become overly stouty, because that's not what this beer is. It's there, but it's just lighter than the original. The mouthfeel feels almost exactly the same. The fruity character feels very, very similar. It's just that roast. There's just slightly more roast in the original Tooheys than there is on my one. How interesting. And you know what? I prefer the original. I'm so sorry, guys. I did not get it right this time. We'll blindfold Odin and get him to do the blind taste test over on Patreon, but I actually think I prefer the original. That's slightly disappointing, but also kind of exciting that my original favorite beer actually holds up over time. That's pretty cool. So, if you're gonna make this beer yourself, add more roast. I think I did 3% from memory, maybe up that to more like 5%. Somewhere in the realm of like 80% more roast malt than I did, I think will get you exactly where the original is meant to be. They both came out fairly similar in stats, 4.4%, 4.5%, 14 IBUs, 14 IBUs. It's literally just a touch more roast character and it will be exactly where it needs to be. But now, I need to say a massive thank you to our Patreons. Thank you so much, Patreons, for all the support behind the scenes over on our private forums, on our channels over there. It's been really awesome getting a lot more interaction with you guys over the last couple of months. And if you guys are unaware of our Patreon program, link down below, but that's where we get a lot of our ideas for what beers we should be exploring in our future brew days here on YouTube. So if you want to join the conversation, link down below. But your hint for next week's video is it's not going to be a brew day. It is going to be a discussion, and it's going to be, the topic will be about the most important thing to go from average beer to great beer as a home brewer. That's the topic, and we're going to give you our tips. Comment down below if you can figure out what it is. Anyway, guys, I'll catch you next week.